For the hens, they don't really care. It's just a matter of personal preference, really. I buy these big compressed straw bales, and depending on how much space you have, that might be a little hard to store. It's a little hard for me to store. You can buy big bags of these shavings, the pine shavings, and they stay in that sort of block shape in the bag, that they come in a little bit better than the compressed straw. The compressed straw is tied with plastic ties, and when you cut them, the whole thing just sort of pops open and starts to come apart. So it expands once you take it apart, whereas the pine shavings will actually get smaller in size over time as you take things out of the cube-sized bag that it comes in. Some people don't like the pine shavings because their chickens have tried to eat the pine. Some people don't like straw for the same reason. So sometimes it's a matter of preference, because it's a matter of what works better for your chickens. In certain regions, other people also have problems with straw molding, whereas other people have problems with the pine shavings molding. Some people have had problems with both, so they prefer to use sand. And really, any of those things are perfectly fine, whichever works best for you in your climate, in your configuration, the amount of storage space that you have, what you're comfortable hauling around, because the compressed straw bales are also a lot heavier than the pine shavings. And you have to continually buy more pine shavings or compressed straw, whereas if you use sand, you don't have to replace that with the same level of frequency. You might need to replace sand eventually, but it lasts a really long time. And basically everything I just said goes for their actual bedding inside of the coop, which is essentially just what they poop on if they're sleeping on a roost. So it really doesn't matter. And of course, you also want to put something in their nesting boxes. And for that, you want something that's soft enough that as the egg drops out of them, it doesn't break. So you wouldn't want it to fall out directly onto like a hard plywood floor, because it'll crack. And so straw or pine shavings works for the nesting boxes. They also make these mats that you can put in the nesting boxes that are like a woven type of material, and you can clean them so you don't need to continually replace the bedding like you would with straw or with pine shavings.